Hi, everyone. My name is Qian. Thank you for joining us. I am a freelance illustrator and also artist and designer based in Brooklyn, New York.
And hey, everybody, my name is Jamal. I'm the founder of Creator, and I'm going to be today's moderator, helping to assist with any questions you guys have and just making sure the stream runs smooth.
So we've been planning this live stream seminar for a very long time now. We actually were originally wanting to have this opportunity to connect with everyone, our other creative colleagues last year, and we finally are able to make this happen. So I'm really excited to be doing this. So today we have an hour. There's a lot to talk about. This is our first seminar, and there's some general topics about what type of work I do, a little bit about my background, and I already see we have some questions which are great, and I'd love to answer them. So I'll do a little overview of our program today, answer questions at the end. I have some original artworks as well as we go through some topics. And if there's anything that we don't cover today, we would love to continue this seminar. And we can also build another seminar to answer a specific topic you have. Anything we don't get to today, we would love to know. So just quickly overviewing today, we'll discuss different types of illustration work I do. Some of them are art for video, which is fun. Also, billboards, advertising, multimedia, like marketing artworks, and that comes in like many different ways. So let's talk about that. And of course, I've been working in the fashion industry for 12 years now. Like, it's been a long time, and have worn many different hats. And one of the exciting things about fashion illustration is also working in beauty, and there's packaging and marketing. So I'll show you some samples for that. Also, at the end, I think it's really important to talk about what it's like to freelance. How do you sustain yourself mentally, financially, and let's talk about all these other important topics I know a lot of people have questions for. And of course, let's talk about my day-to-day process. I have a lot of friends that wonder what my days are like, and also my work process. What's like to work on personal project versus a project for clients. What are some of the workflow things I do? And also, I hopefully have some time to speak about my lovely agent, Isabel Scharenberg, who I've been working with for the last couple of years. And we have a really great relationship. And I think if you have opportunity to have a good partner as an agent, that's a really great thing to have. So I guess let's quickly overview. We'll talk about billboards, advertising, but also like marketing on smaller scale artworks too. And then second, beauty packaging illustrations. I'll show you some actual samples, and let's talk about different types of work that can come with this type of job. And over the years, I have been requested to participate in different videos, from music video to marketing videos for beauty. And that could be really fun too. So I'll show you some examples for that as well. And then a big part of my life for the past few years has been live drawing. I love, summer fashion shows, and also a lot of retail live drawing events that crosses over into marketing artworks. And a lot of jobs really evolve over the time. So I think it's important to talk about, what interests you and what are the right jobs for you. And also, of course, even for fashion beauty illustrators, there's opportunity to lifestyle editorial illustration as well. And then at the end, let's talk, there's other things to talk about agents, about other work opportunities, what else can you do to help you grow in many different ways. So, and hope everyone can hear me. Okay, and I hope this is helpful. Also, I like to add that I started off my career as a fashion designer. I originally have a BFA in fashion design, but many people don't know that I actually have background in illustration and drawing ever since I was really little, as a child. My father was a painter. He was the dean of the oil painting department in Beijing University. So drawing, painting was a big deal in our family. And my mother was also costume designer, fashion designer, graphic designer, beautiful illustrations. I grew up drawing, sewing, doing dance, ballet, all those, amazing opportunities that not everyone had when they were younger. So, being a creator and drawing, painting, working with my hands, that's always been really important to me. And that's what makes me really feel satisfied. And working as a fashion designer, you have to wear many hats. And I worked with a lot of companies that required you to create artworks for packaging. I did graphics, textile designs. And, you have to learn skills that you didn't think you had to before. And while I was working as a designer, I realized I really love being on the art department more. And this is an area that I really need to develop myself. But as we all know, it's very difficult to change your career. And a few years ago, I really thought what I'm doing, everything I'm doing now was so far out of reach and impossible. I spent time speaking with other illustrators, attending events, and just even talking about it without creating work yourself. It feels like a completely different world. And now just putting all this together, putting portfolios together, talking to my agent every day, thinking about everything that's happened, it's super encouraging. And I encourage everyone, if you're interested in something, whether it's illustration, photography, graphics, animation, if there's something you're really passionate about, give yourself a chance to learn more about it and, put some time and effort in, and you never know what might happen. And, I'll talk about it more as we go on. So of course, billboards, advertising, posters are very exciting and challenging. I'll share some of my favorite projects here. The image you see right here is billboard advertising campaign for a shopping mall in Germany. Over the years, I've had several interesting projects in Germany, which is really amazing. I feel like they were, a lot of German clients were really open to, using illustration over photography. There's more room to experiment, and it's been really amazing. So as you see, this artwork's reproduced at billboard prints, indoor, outside, and also in different printed medias. And now I'll go back to that project. Recently, I had the opportunity to work with the Foot Locker team, and 602 is a brand, a curated, cooler activewear brand from Foot Locker. And I got to work with the visuals department and the visuals director, who's just amazing, talented, that supports women, supports women of color, it's just supports New York artists. And it was just a great collaboration. I was like super thankful for this opportunity. So I created illustrations that was for the grand opening of their flagship store in 34th Street, Herald Square. And then we also used the artwork for the Times Square opening this year. And they turned the artworks in many different creative ways. So what you see here in the windows are my illustration on cutout cardboards in the window entrance in Times Square. And it's just so much fun and creative, like the way they present everything, and super great. So these were hand-drawn black and white ink drawings. And I can show you some example of that. This is some of the wallpapers that they printed. These are permanently in their flagship store in Herald Square. So if you have time to check out that Foot Locker store, please do, because it looks really cool. They have this beautiful light box that that show different artworks, images, and the graphic designer, Alexis, turned everything into wallpaper repeat. And it did hand lettering, all that. So it's super fun to work on this project. Also, when you work with big companies with really talented, good people, it it's really an honor because it really makes everything better. So here's a sample of the finished wallpaper repeat. We have a black chalkboard that you can take photos in front of, and then we have the illustrations of the different types of activewear looks and women that we were inspired by. And then, this is part of the working process of, pitching ideas, like what layout should be, what should look like. These are some of the images we did. So for this project, we talked about general idea. I spent time working on concepts. What I wanted to look like was to be timeless. I want to use the brand colors, which is our minimalistic black and white hidden chartreuse. I did rough sketches of the drawings and then presented them to a client. And then once it's approved, I move on to painted color artworks. And then also because a lot of projects, you have a very short time frame. And when I was working as a fashion designer, working a lot of different artworks, I learned that, when you create artworks, there might be changes, and you have to find a way to work and allow those changes. So what I actually did is created the different icons in separate layers. So what you see is the fashion figures is one drawing. I'll show you just an example original. So that's drawn separately first, and then I'll draw the building, the landmark separately, and then do experimentations of different washes and brush strokes. And then I'll scan these original hand drawings and clean them off and layer them together. It's additional work, but it allows us to move things around as if we need to, and remove the background if we don't like it or change something. Luckily, like this was just like such a dream project that my layout was just, it was good, and we didn't do crazy changes, and everyone's happy, and I'm like this is one of my favorite projects. I'm super happy to be working on that. And so, sometimes you also have to pitch ideas, and you have clients that come to you with maybe, billboard ideas or barricades ideas or posters or store visuals, and you have to put in the work. Sometimes you do get paid to do sample drawings. Sometimes there is no budget for it, and you have to decide what is worth it to you, and is it a good opportunity to do something new and different. So this was a separate project for ideas for the Times Square location, where it was more for Foot Locker men's and kids, and it's about basketball in New York City. And I just love this because I'm not just a fashion designer and beauty illustrator, etc. Like growing up in high school, college, I played a lot of sports, and I grew up watching a lot of sports. And I think you can be an artist and still be interested in many other things. So when I got to work on concepts for ideas for, Foot Locker basketball, I was like super excited because I already had ideas of things I really wanted to do. And, I want to try different viewpoints, more dynamic layouts. It was a way to tell a story. I wanted to show Brooklyn neighborhoods. Let's see. And also it was fun working with the kids. One thing working on this funny thing is the New York City, Brooklyn basketball courts are not that glamorous. So I have to really do some rough sketches and think about what is it that really will make this interesting. So I have a couple of original drawings here. Let me see. Let me show you. So these are done in charcoal pencil, graphite. So also for these, I decided to draw the figures and the background separately. Just knowing that if things need to change, or there's parts we like about it, we'll have the backgrounds to work with. So super fun. Okay. And also, when you're making an artwork, you really need to know for the project what's the reproduction size and how you're going to scan things and process the images. so it can be reproduced to the right size and deliver the right size. So for the billboard projects, I have painted things larger than this before, but also the size might work if you scan it, a high resolution and make sure the reproduction output is appropriate for the size of the posters. So all this information, it's helpful. Just do your research online, talk to your colleagues, just you kind of just like learn as you go. And over the years, you'll just gain more knowledge, and also your process will change too. So, and that's just the fun part, is just figuring it out every year. There's always going to be a new project that will challenge you to learn new things. So some of the things I show you will cross over different types of job categories. As some of you know, I have done a lot of live drawings for fashion retailers. This is, for example, illustration of Linda Fargo for Bergdorf Goodman, and it was a live drawing event with Theory at Bergdorf's, and we did marketing artworks of Theory looks, and then the same like more looser fashion style drawing for Linda, and we used this artwork for promotion, and it was super fun. And as you can see, like I use a lot of different materials, and I do have different looks, and I use different styles because their different brands have different images, and for high fashion, we need a certain look. And sometimes one thing I want to talk about with fashion, also just illustration, is sometimes you see a style that's really simplified, but to get the right look, sometimes you have to do it over and over again. So, as I suggest, when you look at an artwork, you can't think, oh, she did that in 5 minutes or more, but you really have to also think about, you have to, it's great when you have time to experiment and play around with ideas. And you also have to think about, you have to do that over and over again if time allows. And also, you have to process the artwork digitally, present them, clean them off. All of that really takes quite a lot of time. And a lot of time, working as an illustrator or a designer, the turnaround time is super quick. And it's never done in just like half a day or a few minutes. So there were many versions done. I'm just showing a few before I finally get the right look. So you really have to put in some effort, even for simple looks like that. Also, here's another one for Lord & Taylor. Been really fortunate to work with their PR team for the last few years. We've done so many events, and on top of events, we've done marketing artworks. This was for Lord & Taylor's anniversary, and the theme of the events was everything coming up roses, and we wanted something really whimsical, and it was in conjunction with Birdcage, which is like a more youthful, uplifting line. And this was a really fun store event that they partnered with Elle magazine, and we made cute invitations. There were store visuals all throughout the stores, large posters, small visual signs, and then this was the entrance of outside for Lord & Taylor, and it was so much fun and so great, and I'm so thankful to have that opportunity. And also for this project, it was super, super busy time, and I was just on back-to-back on multiple projects, and I was also traveling for live drawing events. And at this time, I just really was not sleeping. There was a lot of all-nighters. Every year, there's a lot. So if you're seeing something even simplified, there's actually sometimes a couple rounds that's been done to make sure we have the right look. And also, there's not a lot of time to make this happen. So you have to just do the best you can with the time and what you have. And also like learn to move on too. And then also worked with Bloomingdale's for many years. This was a live drawing invitation event for the lingerie department. We've also worked on a lot of beauty events, beauty and fragrance events. Let's see, this was an invitation marketing artwork for Cosabella for Erin Featherstone's trunk show, and this is one of her looks. And this is one of my favorite artworks. They were lovely to work with, and so it was something like this. We really didn't have time to do like rough sketching. I kind of just went for it. So this is done in watercolor and ink. Let's see here. And then also in the same style, we did a portrait of the beautiful Erin Featherstone in one of her dresses. And we used these for marketing for the special trunk show and live drawing event. And also, this is drawings for Hop Studio, my favorite shoes. This is all hand done by ink. And this is used for web marketing and also printed gift cards. It's just like the black and white, I just like love it. And I have people who ask me, oh, is this done digitally? And one thing just like to tell everyone, like, I think it's just super, for me, like I really truly value traditional techniques, traditional media, but you have to make your artworks, deliverable for reproduction. So I think it's important for me not to use digital tools as a crutch, but as a tool. And it works well for me to always start by hand, even though sometimes you do make edits in Photoshop, Illustrator. You have to combine things, you have to do different layouts. You have to, work with contract or, remove blemishes and color correct digitally. But, starting off by hand, starting with your hand, no matter what you make, will really add something to the artwork. This was also concept work for D&G watches, so it's about a travel story. This was fun to work on. And then there's some artworks that I haven't shared with anyone before. This was a really fun project for Lands End. This was for their concept and design team. And, we can talk about different types of jobs where this is like kind of like an in-house fashion illustrator job where, we had a tight deadline. I had to come up with the looks, and I would have direction from the concept design team about, okay, this is the color of the print, just the flat sketches, or basically how it would fit. And it was helpful with my background as a designer that I, have to do this before ever since school. And I was able to understand the brand well, and super fun to work on. So this is something new that I haven't shared with anyone before. Super fun. Also, for anyone who's interested in fashion and beauty, you have to not limit yourself, because fashion is also a lifestyle. And if you just limit yourself, only illustrating fashion, beauty, you're not going to find very many jobs. And also, a lot of great masters, really talented people, they can draw anything. Old people, young people, fashion, still lifes, do storytelling. And, if you study the old masters, like they draw everything. So I think just, what you draw when you make, it's a reflection of what you're interested in. And it really takes time to build that and make that evolve. So this was a really fun drawing for recorded lick cider, which is delicious too, highly recommend it. And that's done watercolor. This was jewelry drawings. That was like super fun too. And then also, I also do illustrations and make trend and concept books for lingerie manufacturer. And since I have worked as a designer in many different categories, I really like I love like building concepts and trends. So so I actually wear many different hats. There's other things I do that people might not know, but so even though this is a design concept job, I am also able to use my illustration skills as part of my projects. And these are some of the other drawings for trim books for clients, customers. And it just depends on what the brands we're pitching to. So this was for a younger brand, obviously. You know, also there's going to be other clients and projects you're interested in that you could do marketing artworks for. This was for this lovely skate shop that was in Greenpoint that supported women sports and skating. So that's something I thought was important.
Yeah, Lily, I want to jump in real quick. You mentioned something that I think could be cool. One of the questions, if we could tag, is the user said, were there any heroes or people that you looked up to? And you mentioned studying the masters. So I think that could be a cool kind of point just to talk about that real quick.
Yeah, definitely. With fashion illustration, you know, there's a lot of great masters. I'm going to show you a few. Of course, I love Antonio Lopez. His illustrations, 60s, 70s, are just beautiful. And just his hand. And also, if you really spend your time looking at some illustrators' work and not just quickly browse through, you can see that they really experiment a lot. You know, sometimes it's not just drawing, but there's collages. And Rene Guerrero, you know, master. Some other books I don't have, David Downton.
Those are some big books. You're like laboring to lift them.
Mr. Bill Donovan's like super talented New York professor and fashion illustrator. So many. I highly recommend, you know, like instead of spending time looking on Instagram, like go to the bookstore, go to the library, go look up some older masters, and then also go on different agency websites and look at illustrators that you like, and you know, and just study it. And also over the years, you'll find that there are people that you're always drawn to. You're always going to love their work, and then there might be images that you saved that you thought that was inspiration, and your taste level has changed over the years, and that will keep on evolving. And which is great to see that and feel that, because then you feel like you're really learning. And also, I don't always just only look at fashion illustrators, but also painters and artists. One of the painters I really love is this old Russian painter, Nikolai Fechin. And let me show you just one of his works. Let's see. So these are just like some of his famous like charcoal drawings. And then also his paintings, oil paintings, just, they look like they're flying, they're alive, they're coming off the page. And so once you really spend time, you know, learning about other artists' histories that inspire you, looking at, you know, other artists' work, you really get to learn a lot more about, you know, what inspires you. So that's just to name some of the few.
Cool, perfect. So we'll touch base with the follow-up question after you move on.
Yes.
Cool.
And let me move a little bit quicker. So let's see, here's some other artworks. This was for Saks Fifth Avenue. So, you know, it's important to have other skills too. This was Oculus with Reese, the fashion store opening. And then this was the billboard in Germany. In the shopping malls. It was fun. And then exterior posters, also print. And then here are some of the artworks that were done. So even though it was a fashion job, it was also a lifestyle, targeting different customers and demographics. So that's some examples of ads and marketing. So let me move to beauty. So beauty and packaging illustration. I had a wonderful opportunity to work with a German cosmetic brand called Manhattan Cosmetics. It's owned by Coty. It's quite a big company. And I was chosen to be illustrator to illustrate the packaging of eyeshadows and also nail polish. So these had to be vector drawings, but I started them by hand and then turned them into vector. And we also had color limitations, and you just have to work with the parameters of the project. So you could see some of the artworks. I needed to know where the logos will be placed, where the colors of the eyeshadows would be. So you have to be conscious of, the actual size of the artwork are some lines too fine to be printed. Did a lot of options for the hand lettering till we get to the final right looks. This was the display for the products. So it was super fun, and it's related to the packaging. And these were some of the other ideas. So, sometimes you get it right on the first round. Sometimes you have to pitch a couple ideas. And this is an example of the original drawing. So ideas, and then, different views. So it's quite a process sometimes. Here are some of the, I don't know if you can see the little nail polish and also eyeshadow, which I'm not using. I'm just keeping them because they're super cute. So, these kind of things, you never know, can happen, and it's super fun. And like when I was a designer, of course, I, had to design packaging for apparel and accessories. But it's a whole other thing when you get to work on, you're a true creator, illustrator. It's very satisfying. Also, here are some beauty illustrations. This was for Sephora, and these were little store visual printouts. So we had to do different looks. I had to illustrate different looks for different brands. This was for a lip event, so we were kind of focusing on the lips. And for this type of job, we would, usually when you work with big companies, like they're really talented art directors and just a team that are super organized, and they will give you a briefing of directions. And then I really like to hop on a quick call, especially with someone I haven't met before. It would just be great to run over the directions together, any questions you have, your proposal, timeline, make sure we're on the same page, and make sure everyone's comfortable to reach out to each other before you start moving on. So for something like this, of course, you build a schedule. Like, this is when I'm going to turn in the rough sketch. This is when we'll get feedback from the client. This is when we'll turn in the painted sketch, feedbacks, revisions, final delivery files. So when you have that all planned out, it just really makes things go a lot smoother. And for projects like these, when I'm working with big companies, I really love it when my agent Isabel is on board and as a partner managing timelines and communications, where that way I can really focus on creating artworks and doing what's right for this project, while she can help us manage our communication timeline questions. And it's just great to have a partner to talk about ideas with if you're not sure about how to handle a situation. So when you have a good agent, we'll talk more about it. It's very helpful. And for example, let's see, I'm not sure why it's a little distorted. I guess if you have time later, you can go on my website to check out some of the artworks. So these were some sample artworks for Sephora, again, that I really loved. And this is example of what it will look like in black and white ink versus color. Also, like last year, I just had this amazing opportunity to work with La Prairie skincare company. I was able to travel to a lot of cool places, from Vancouver, Toronto, to Boston, to Dallas, to Atlanta. It was quite a busy year, and I created this marketing artwork in gold ink to promote a new product. And so I did a lot of live drawings, and there's visuals in the stores showing the golden artworks. And also for these types of artworks, you really don't have a lot of time. So, you know, you really need to like do a lot of practice before you can, you know, work on these events, which I'll talk a little bit more. And also sometimes when you do personal work, it can get, you know, like Bloomingdale's was interested in for visual for beauty events. So you never know if you have like a lot of personal works that's actually not used. It could be licensed and used down the road. Let's see, these were fashion show collaboration drawings. Also, this was a backstage drawing in Fashion Week. Another thing I want to talk about is the importance of kind of like broadening your range. Of course, black and white charcoal pencil is foundation. And also, even though right now the popular medium to use is watercolor ink, I think just really refreshingly you can offer a different style as well. So I think it's important to develop your skill, not just in one media, but really allow yourself to experiment. Fashion show drawing, fashion show beauty, backstage drawing, and just some other samples. And there's also opportunities to draw products. So this was a project for Matrix. Let's see. Again, also maybe for like editorials. Let's see. So that's some examples for beauty. And I'm just going to move on so I can get through more topics. Let's see. Let's talk about art for video. So there's been, one of the reasons I wanted to be an illustrator and also just have opportunity to do different types of job, not just in fashion, is it's just great to like have opportunity to meet people in different industry. And it's, you know, when we work on video, it's just cool to see what other people, how they do, like what the art directors are like, what, the production managers are like, and what their days are like, and have that opportunity to learn something new and meet new people. It's quite rewarding as well. So for example, recently had a couple projects with SC Nail Polish. This project was to create original artworks, and there were a series of them, many artworks, and it was used as prop for video. So I have these videos on my YouTube playlist. You can take a look and see. So for some of these, I had to do multiple versions. We talk about ideas like it should be on texture paper, so there it looks more authentic, hand-drawn versions, and then also different styles. And then also did them in pencil, and also fashion illustration on top of product illustration. So creating original artworks, a lot of them, it's really it really takes a lot of time too. And also you have to be careful with original artworks. You know, it has to be clean. You can't retouch them. It has to work with the video. And then the color has to be right too. So another project with SC Nail Polish for video, also for print, is the ballet new collection. So for this ballet drawing, did many versions, many options, so they can have it at the shoot for the video. And also for between this and that project, this was also like advertorial for German magazine as well, in fashion magazine. So it could be used in many different ways. So another thing, a few years ago, I did this poster for Justin Timberlake's music video, Not a Bad Thing. So we had someone like live filming me, doing a time lapse of the drawing as an option. They did interview me as well. So there's a lot of different pieces to a certain job, and you have to just make it work within your timeline. But also you have to, there's a particular style that the director would like to have. So and sometimes you just have to find a balance of what is right look for the final output. And then also I have been asked to provide my artwork as props for several projects. This one was for Pantone video, and I hand modeled it, but that's not important. But there were some videos, and they also used my studio space for the video. And then this was a poster for a film in the Chelsea Film Festival. That was super cool to be part of. Also, one thing I want to talk about is people have been asking for a lot more pitching ideas for animation and doing GIFs. So this is actually a GIF image for a luxury lingerie brand. Let's see, these are some examples from the SC nail polish. So this is like, options for unfinished, finish. Also, again, super tight deadline. And then this is personal work that I ended up using as a prop in one of the videos. So that is that. And then let's move on to live drawing. Live drawing, it's been super exciting, and I've had different opinions about how I feel about it throughout the years. Long time ago, I have seen other illustrators live drawn at high-end retailers, and I thought that was super interesting. And once things start happening, there's been a lot of requests, and I had the opportunity to work with really great companies. Like I got to illustrate at, besides from Bloomingdale's, Bergdorf, Saks, Lord & Taylor, Holborn Fruit, and I guess just everywhere. But of course, fashion show is exciting. This project, I got to work with the Art Institute and the Brownie Group, and I live illustrated these looks live during the fashion show. So again, we had an idea. They had seen my work before. We had a meeting before, and ideas about what we can do, and I didn't really have a chance to do a run through. I did. I could only just prepare as much as I could beforehand, so that was like super fun. And there's also video of that as well. And this again, I like to mention, it's like you want like commission projects, and not all fashion runway shows are, so you have to decide like what's the right project for you. So also for fashion shows, a few years ago, I went to a lot of shows covering looks, live illustrating them, publishing them with the Style line. And we had a Fashion Week lookbook, and you can see some of the artworks there. And also I collaborated with Perry Ellis for a couple of events, live drawing, also live drawing at a fashion show. And we published some of the looks to during the show. And then this was done during Fashion Week to promote the collection. So these are some of the Fashion Week drawings. And this was a recent live drawing event with 602 and Foot Locker. So as you can see, we did the marketing advertising artwork before. And then for the special opening of Times Square store, I brought some canvases, and I did some live drawings while customers we can talk and watch my process, and that was really nice and fun. This is some of the outcome of events. They're actually still, the artworks are still in the Times Square store as of now, if you want to pop by and check it out. And also, for example, this is live drawing at retail events. This is at Lord & Taylor or Brand Assembly. And for these kind of jobs, it's great when you have opportunity to do a marketing artwork because you have more time to in the studio to work on the finished piece. But during these live events, you have to decide if this type of job is right for you, because you really have to, I think it works well for people who love drawing portraits, love drawing people, who love speaking with people and connecting with people, because you want to make them feel comfortable. And also you have to be okay with the fact that you only have 5-10 minutes to finish a drawing, and would you be happy with that, and could you make that work? These were some of also the live drawing samples for La Prairie. This was one of the marketing artworks for Brand Assembly at Lord & Taylor. This is one of the events at Lord and Taylor. Again, both Lord and Taylor and Vogue was a special a drawing project for one of their luncheons with Vogue. And then just marketing artworks again, that goes with live drawing events. So for example, with Reese, we did branded paper with the Oculus for the grand opening in the World Trade Center. And then, you know, and this is an example of some of the really fast live drawing artworks. This was marketing artworks for Obey. And, you know, we had actual artworks at the event. We used these as invitations, marketing, and during the event, I would be live drawing. And this was a marketing for event with Michelle Smith. So, you know, of live drawing, you know, honestly, like experiment with different materials. Sometimes I have used a lot of ink and watercolor because it's just fast and it has more coverage and more impact. So this is some of the live drawing / editorials for Brand Assembly. Some of their designers there. Again, Fashion Week. And these are some of the drawings for the style line. We had a really busy couple seasons, super fun. So, and sometimes it's just great to like let go at these live drawing events because you're forced to, you know, just make it happen really fast. And how can you make that work? This is for fashion show. Let's see. These were some artworks for when Lord and Taylor had live drawing events for French Connections, like a footwear event. So I think, you know, whatever job opportunity comes to you, it will evolve throughout the years, and try to create some good opportunity for yourself instead of just saying like, oh, I'm only going to do live drawing. Like, what else can you build on it? Let's see. Also, editorials. For example, this is a special project I really loved for Faux magazine, and this was an article about interview Lucy Jones, who's an amazing designer, really inspiring, who created her senior thesis collection that's for disabled people. So it's like it's called See the Design, and so working on projects that really topics and projects that really inspires you. It feels nice. Let's see, here is another Cosabella, Erin Featherston, and People Style Watch magazine little collaboration together. These were for blog post stories for Brand Assembly's brand blog, and there was a lot of opportunities to tell stories. And this was partnered with Connect Editorial and the style line. So that we did a lot of fun articles. This was a New Year's resolution article. Let's see, this is the co-founder Hillary, it's a portrait of her. And, you know, and sometimes, you know, even with smaller platforms, if you find someone super interesting to work with and with people you like, it allows you to have opportunity to share your work and create things that are different. Let's see, this was artwork that was featured before. It's like, I really love this one. It was made for my friend's fashion collection. This was for a sailing team. That was super cool. And then also, here's a couple travel stories that I partner with the style line. This was a weekend in upstate New York. Super, like, still one of my favorites. This one's like really love. So these were stories about places to go, places to eat. And we did a series of these. This was a travel story to Charleston. And it's just super fun to branch out, being able to work on different works. This is a Montreal story, places we recommended to go. This was a story for a book, like a Brooklyn Stories for Snow Day in Prospect Park. And also, sometimes when you experiment and work on personal artworks, for example, these collages I made, it was actually picked up by a magazine that wanted to use it as an editorial. So you never know. You should just like do, make things that are interesting for you, not only uh, for work, but do things that interest you for yourself. And you never know, it might apply for something else as well. Um, just quickly, some other things. Working as a freelancer is very challenging, and we can have a whole nother podcast just about that, and we can invite some of my colleagues to speak about this as well. You might have 1 year that is super busy, making like a lot, okay, and then it could just die off like that. So you have to really have multiple clients. You have to find a way to not rely only on one source of income. You have to save money, so when things are slow, you are okay. You have to make sure you have enough money to pay taxes, which for my freelance fans today is Q2 taxes are due. So, the more you make, the more you have to pay. And you have to make sure you keep on building new skills, because what if you need to do graphic design? What if you need to know some animation? What if you have other opportunities that like could give you some stability, but that requires different skills. You have to be like really careful about what works for you and know where your goals are financially and in the short term and long term, and think about, is freelancing really right for me? Is it better to work full time with a company? Is it what's the right balance for you? And even it's hard no matter what. If you work full-time or for yourself, you always, either way, there's always challenges. There's nothing's fully secure and stable, and you always have to learn new skills, and you always have to change and evolve. And you can't think that freelancing, you make your own hours. It's sometimes freelancing, working for yourself, you're working all the time, and sometimes everything happens at once, and sometimes it's nothing at all. So you have to really know what you're getting into, and reevaluate time after time, and think about where you want to go. And what kind of illustrator designer you want to be. Even if you're not there now, would you like to do, for example, like publishing or books? Would you like to work in animation? It's all possible, but it really takes time. But you have to keep at it, and things will happen. This is my agent, Isabel Schauenberg. She is actually traditionally a photo agent. I'm her first illustrator, only illustrator. And, I think we have a good partnership together. I wish I could bring her on for this one. And she represents a lot of really talented people. And she is, when you find an agent, you want to talk to them, meet them. And the most important thing is that if they are a good person, if you have a good relationship, you figure out together and you grow together. And it's good to talk about, if you have questions about working with agents, talk to a lot of people about it. Because I definitely did talk to my photographer friends, my illustrator friends, about their experience with working with agents, and you kind of hear the same things over and over again. And it really doesn't really matter. I think it just depends, where you really fit in. And you also have to remember that just because you have an agent, or if you get an agent, doesn't mean that everything will go smoothly. Because I've also heard really horror stories, and you just want to be careful. Just because you have representation, it doesn't mean it will last. It doesn't mean that it's going to completely change your life. You have to work on it together. You have to, think about what's right for you. Let's see. Here's some samples I wanted to share about working with different materials, experimenting, painting on different surfaces, working on telling stories, and working on collages. I think, you know, that's important because you want to keep on growing and evolving. And a lot of stuff you're not seeing today here is I also have years making like textiles. And, you know, I do freelance work for a fashion company still, and I do drawings for hang tags, graphics, and you don't see these things, but I have also like I'm really skilled in on that side of the business that allows me to freelance and have other sources of income. Um, so I'm like really thankful that I had the experience to be a designer and have worked with good companies and have like learned a lot. So I'm able to do different things. And you know, I have other goals in mind. So I'm always working on personal projects where I want to, you know, make more books about travel, about food, about lifestyle. So you have to put in the work outside of your commission work. So that's what's truly going to help you grow. To allows you time to experiment and evolve. And also, when you're on the job, you really don't have time to experiment. Like I said, you know, a lot of jobs you really have to turn things around. It's due tomorrow. Oh my God, 2 days. When you're already working something else, or you have, you know, that day to do it, or you have to make things quickly. You have to kind of just work out the basics, and that takes time. And it's okay.
You want to switch off the screen share and we'll start going over questions?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So we have a bunch of questions. Let's see what we have here. You kind of went through this one, but I guess what was your biggest challenge as a fashion illustrator? What has been one of your most challenging assignments?
The biggest challenge, there's several things. Is there echo? Are we okay?
Yeah, we're good.
So when I first started off, trying to be an illustrator, working on having my portfolio out, people will find you and they will start asking you to work on projects. And starting off, you're probably going to attract some smaller companies, and it's really difficult when you're. I really love working with bigger companies now because I've had that experience as a designer, and also, you know, you don't get some of the same challenges. So what if you might end up having clients will ask you to copy a style, or they send you other artists' work, or they and you know, you have to be ethical. Like, you can't copy someone's work. You can't copy someone's style. You can only do your work. Even if you copy it, it will still come out looking like your hand, you know? So that's, sometimes you have to maybe not take a job if it's like, if the job doesn't sound right for many reasons, if, you know, if they're, don't have the right budget that you need, if it's the timeline doesn't work, if the style or something about this project is just ethically you don't feel right about, you just, you know, it might be best to just walk away, knowing that there's always something else and the right job always happens. So style-wise is something that, you know, not later on you'll end up having clients that they love your style and you have to do your thing. But when you're first starting off, you might have people that want you to copy, and you have to be just real careful about that, because you might not, besides from being like legally like wrong, you won't be happy with yourself and the things you're making. Another thing is timing. Like, it's just everything's, the turnaround time is so fast because you're kind of the last piece of the puzzle. Like, once they have pitched the idea to client, once they have budget proof or certain things figured out, they're like, oh, let's look for artists. Let's make this happen. Oh, this has to happen next week. And you already have things scheduled in your life. You already, so like, you have to decide, am I gonna work all nighter? Am I gonna work weekends? Is it worth it? Can I do it? You have to, you know, that will happen. And then also you'll find different, you know, just like working with anybody, there's gonna be different personalities and people respond and work differently. And you have to, you'll be more frustrated in the beginning because it's all learning process. You might be more angry about clients' requests for revisions or changes, but all those are very normal. You'll hear that from other creatives and photographers. Like later on, once you do it more and more, first of all, you end up avoiding those situations, and also you set up the job properly, or you have partners, and like I just don't feel that way anymore, and it's just like a great feeling. So you just kind of have to like go through it, talk about it with your colleagues, stay calm, and be professional, and learn ways to how to manage things that might happen with revisions. Like how do you what are some steps you can do before you start a job? Like talking about schedules, talking about process, making sure everyone's happy. Do we need or have time for a rough sketch? Can we just go straight into it? How many options do we need? How many rounds of revisions are you really okay with? When is this project gonna end? Is it, like once you, like I said, something like when you work with, that's a great thing about working with like really great art directors and good companies, is that it's more organized, it's more respectful. And it's, when you're starting out, sometimes you work with smaller brand, and they might seem, there's some really nice people, interesting projects, but you have to be more careful about your time, and what you're making, and about their requests. So all these things will happen.
Let's get into, there was another question. Actually, two people asked the question, and it relates to how to price your work, commissions, live drawings. Yeah. What's kind of been your process for that?
So you're going to have different pricing structures, and you're going to have to talk to other people about it, and then think about, think about how much you would like to make a year, and then what range you're okay with. And you have to keep in mind that you're spending money on materials. You're spending, you have to pay taxes and extra taxes as a freelancer. The self-employment tax, you have to pay quarterly taxes. If you're not charging enough to cover, you might be ending up working for free, and that's terrible. So, you have to think about, for a live drawing, how many hours, what's, your hourly rate, but then also you have to get there early to set up, and you're gonna have time to clean up, the travel time, how long it gets you there. And also sometimes you have to do more preparation. And sometimes these events takes more preparation, they're asking more. And some you just have to show up early. And also you're giving away original artworks. So if you're just charging like really low just to get the job, once you calculate your materials and your time, because you're not able to book other jobs that day or do other jobs, because a couple hour events actually taking up half of your day or full day where you have to travel. And then after materials, taxes and all that, if you're not charging enough, then you're working for free. And there's only so long you can do that for, and you're hurting yourself in the long run, and also other artists too who need to make a living as well. And and then if you really think about if you're working as like photographer, graphic designer, textile designer, fashion designer, if it's like in-house hourly stuff, we all know like usually might be a range between 80, 90, 150, but that's only just the hourly. But then, you also have to think about licensing, and with someone you want to license the artwork. For example, if it's going to be used for a billboard, if it's going to be used for a big company and it's being used for a long period of time, or multiple things, that has to be charged, and that has to be on your agreement. So I recommend for fees getting the Graphic Arts Guide Handbook, which is like a summary booklet that they publish annually about guidelines for pricing. And the great thing about that book is that it tells you about different categories and types of illustrations and different industries. Pricing's not quite right, of course, because it depends on the project. So if it's live event, make sure you cover hourly you're happy with, and also make sure that covers the material spending, and also think and how much time you're doing, and also calculate the fact that it's original artworks that you're not charging full price for. So don't go too low on that, because it's otherwise it's not worth it. And you if it's for marketing versus advertising, depends on if it's a truly advertising project, then you need to charge advertising prices, and you need to if it's like something permanent, if it's something being used like for a large scale project, that's like the best type of project. And same thing with packaging, those beauty jobs I showed you, that's considered like an advertising job. You need to make sure you get a big budget for that, because they're goods being sold. And but there are some smaller jobs for like magazines and like websites, or smaller stuff that's going to have a lower budget, and that's just the way it is. So you have to just know all those things and talk to people, and do your research online, get the handbook, and then spend some time yourself making a little chart of what you're okay with. And also for each job, kind of calculate how much you've been charging, how much materials you use and everything, and just kind of learn from that. And if you feel like if you're not charging enough, then you'll know your answer. And also, it's okay to ask the client, like, what is your budget and what is the detail? Because you really can't quote a project without knowing who is it for, how is it being used, how long it's going to be used, where it's going to be used, what's the time frame. Like, don't give a number until you have all the information. I mean, there's been times where like I'm just tired, and then like I gave them a quick number and it was too low, and then you're just not happy with the job, and doesn't really get you more jobs with the client. And then you spend if you spend like too much time on a project that's not a big budget, or you have to be careful, because it drains you, your energy wise, and it doesn't allow you to take on other jobs, creative or not, to make enough money. No matter where you live, it's you just kind of evaluate every year and see where you're at, and you might have to just walk away from some things. It's not right for you.
All right, I would say one more question, and I think, well, two questions, but the first one is, can you type a link to the place with the handbook, or the name of the handbook?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And the second thing is, I guess, kind of the final question, because you kind of answered most of these questions just through your talk, which is great, would be, what's your just advice for people trying to break in, which you kind of answered that too, but I guess kind of end with just, what do you think people can do to kind of break into the world today, currently? And maybe thinking about where it's going in the future to prepare yourself if you're, say, still in school.
Yes. So first of all, I typed the link, the Graphics Arts Handbook, in the chat room, so you can see that. You don't need to get every year. I mean, I have one for for a few years now, and it just have it. You're not always going to look at it. It's helpful just to have it on hand. And also, to start out, first you have to embrace and understand that everyone's different. Our backgrounds are different. I'm, because of my fashion background, and this is why most of my clients and all my knowledge, it's still in fashion and beauty. But I have other illustrator friends who have fallen into other categories. So sometimes you just, the answer will reveal itself. But to get started, you really can't start anything without doing the work. So don't worry about networking. Don't worry about how to promote yourself, business, all that stuff. Make majority of your time. Give yourself the education you need to create work. That's the most important thing. The other stuff about industry, you'll learn as you go. You can find this information online, like different illustration organizations. Go to Society Illustrators, go to live drawing events, meet other artists, meet people. Go on other artists' websites and see if they have terms and conditions that they posted. The Graphic Arts Handbook has sample contracts, terms and conditions. So all those things are available. you could talk to people about advice about charging and how to handle clients and how many the work process. All those things you can find out, and you really like don't need to worry about the wrong things at first. Just really like make a lot of work, make a lot of drawing, and then naturally you'll see what kind of artist, illustrator, designer you are. And also a lot of like designers, textile designers, illustrator, graphic designer, they're interested in multiple things. So you don't have to that's a good thing because it allows you to build different skills to survive and to evolve and grow. So it's just spend a lot of time like making work, like drawing and taking classes. And if you can't afford classes, then there are things available. There are books, there are workshops are cheaper than going to school. There are videos, and this really takes time. So it took me like years to finally make time to start drawing again because you're just so busy working full time in fashion design and you just don't have time or energy. And there's been different times in my life where like I had this idea that I really wanted to really pursue illustrations. And I would start, but then get busy again, you stop. And if you really want something, it will happen. So you just start making work for yourself, and then you'll find people to collaborate with, and then people will find your work. And if it's the right fit, like jobs will happen, and you just go one step at a time. Sorry.
I think that's perfect. So everyone out there, she mentioned obviously videos and she mentioned her website. So if you want to look at more of her drawings, or if you want to check out some of the video stuff she mentioned, the art for video, I think that's also on her website. And if you if you click on the creator link to the far right, there'll be all her links to her social pages. She has a Facebook, she has a Twitter and an Instagram, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So definitely please follow her there. She posts awesome work all the time. And people are also watching this on Facebook. So if you're watching on Facebook, come to Creator and you'll see the links that I was referring to. But of course, if you're on Facebook, you could just look her up, look her name up. So that's easy enough. So yeah, this is awesome. We'll have to get you on again. This was absolutely amazing. And maybe we can do something more specific because you mentioned some of the different topics. So that could be cool. Yeah. So are there any kind of final words you'd like to say to the crowd before we end?
The final word, I would just like to say that I'd like to remind everyone that, years ago, I thought this was impossible, that this was never going to happen, that I'm not good enough, I'm too out of touch, I'm too old to switch my career, all these impossible things. It's possible, and things will evolve, and I might continue to evolve and change in what I do. I might have different interests as well, but you just it could happen. You just have to do it. You just have to not listen to other people. People will tell you you should be this, you should be that. I had people tell me, oh, you should be a photographer, you should be that. It doesn't matter what people say. If it's listen to yourself and put in the work, and it's worth the hard work. Is worth it. If you just suffer for a little bit, it's worth it and rewarding to build something for yourself at the end.
All right, that is perfect. So thank you, Lily, and we hope to have you on soon. All right, bye, everybody.